Welcome here from European Kosovo, and here in front of the European delegation I want to protest against the strategy of the government and of the EU here, because it's a failure. We should not wait with the application for EU candidate status. We should simply do it now. Now it was the decision to do the Council of Europe. That was absolutely correct decision. And now it's also time to do the candidate status application, the same like Bosnia has done it. No matter ready or not, no matter if the embassies agree or not, it must be done. And there's a risk, of course, with failure. There is always a risk of failure with politics. But it's now the moment to go for WTO, for the EU and for NATO and for membership of all these organizations. That means the candidate status, the NATO map, and of course the Council of Europe and visa liberalization. That's all clearly. But the ambitious aim in front of the summit, before the summit, to the 23rd, must be to be in one enlargement package with Ukraine, with Bosnia, with Georgia, with Moldova, and to go ahead on the next stage, because potential candidate status is Kosovo already since 2008. And no matter if everybody has recognized of this creates now a crisis, Kosovo has to impose itself on the European and American agenda with help of everybody. And if they don't upset, then at least it's for a good reason. And if they don't say, no, it's not ready, then let's discuss if the others are ready and what is the situation. But to stay on the back burner and say, oh, you get the Council of Europe, but you don't go for EU candidate status and you don't go for MAP, it's not the right strategy. Of course, it's maybe polite to do as the embassies say, but it's much better to be ambitious and to be clear. And there's no justification not to recognize Kosovo. The Slovakians and Romanians, Cypriots and others, they are wrong. They are utterly wrong. So then to somehow say, okay, we understand, you don't like that, and so we don't ask for it, and we get maybe Council of Europe, which is by far not sure. And it's actually the same debate. So confronting the whole non-recognizing group completely by going full in for NATO, for Council of Europe, for WTO, for the EU candidate status, which in my view is the most important decision now. And Kosovo technically is ready, same as Bosnia. Bosnia politically is even more complex, I would say, than Kosovo at the moment. So ultimately this is the way. And I understand you have to listen to the embassies and be careful and not to say something, and the Americans and the Europeans and the Germans and the Italians and the British and who else has a say here and gives his opinion and doesn't want to have another big issue on the table of the agenda for the 30th of May and for the 23rd of June, for the two big summits to come. And they say it's enough to have Georgia, Ukraine and Moldova already, and Bosnia and Macedonia, Albania and Serbia's problem with all these kind of confused policies they have up there. And then Kosovo should be, you get Council of Europe and you can be maybe in Macron's political community, but not the EU candidate and the status, because that status is really very important. And now, for example, when we do this petition, as there is nothing to decide for Kosovo on the Council, but visa liberalization, you're not in this package of this petition. And that's the real problem. So I call here now in June to make the decision to apply, no matter what the embassies or the Friends of Kosovo say, just apply to the next level of EU integration from potential candidate status to candidate status, and that's a much better strategy. And even when there will be a rupture, like with the elections of Serbia in Kosovo and the rejection to organize this, that's something unfortunate, because all these appeasers who brought us into this war, let's never forget, it's the Merkel kind of style appeasers and the Macron appeasers who have led us into this war. And they should not dominate the policy on Kosovo, because it will lead to an utter disaster later down the road. And then you will maybe see some real crisis, which I hope will never materialize. But I think the better way is, instead of waiting, to go. And instead of listening, to just do the good things, which is of course to apply for NATO, EU, WTO and WTO, Council of Europe, but all together, and create now a minor crisis and push the issue at the moment when they are malleable, the things. Yeah? It's now where the Ukraine war allows for opening of the EU enlargement policy, and Kosovo must be in that line of thinking. That's very important, and that's why it's so important to do that. Thanks a lot. All the best. More to come from Pax Europiana. Bye.